Okay, this video is for recapping the creation of the template very quickly. Let's create a new session, and this new session should be, let's put it on the desktop for now, and it will call, it's our template recap for the post-production template recap. 48 hertz, 32-bit float if you can, or 24 is good. Once it's open, it's empty, and we know that you are working on three main areas. The areas are the sound effects, which include the ambiances and the follies. Then another area is dedicated to the music, and the last area that you can use if you have characters that talk is the dialogues. So we focus on the DME, dialogues, music, and effects. If you keep them in this order, is also the best idea. In terms of the template, we know that we work on organizing audio tracks. They could be mono or they could be stereo. And to create this, to open this dialog, you just go on the track, new, and then you have this to decide. Here you decide the type of track, so if it's mono or stereo, so the channels of the track, and here you decide the type of track, because we're going to use audio track, we're going to use master fader, we're going to use auxiliary fader, and we're going to use VCA master. You can also use a basic folder or routing folder, as we will do. And in fact, I want like 5 mono tracks, 2 stereo track, and that will be I will also create one basic folder, and this folder will be the effects, and I will say call it SFX. This will all be my SFX track, and this will be my SFX stereo track. Then I continue in this way, and I create a bunch of mono and a bunch of stereo audio tracks. Let's say another 5 and 2 to keep the same. This will be my MX and the MX stereo, and a dedicated folder, basic folder for them, so that I have the MX. Then I want to do the dialogues, again in the same process, stereo, mono, audio tracks. This one is the X because it's dialogue, this one is the X stereo, and then their dedicated folder. Then once I have all of this, it's good enough to start, to not confuse, but then we will need to create further tracks. So I create my my tracks, and you can see that now I have the folders, but the folders have not been filled with the tracks. So I'm just going to go select a track. So when all the tracks are selected, to unselect them all, you just simply command click on one and then click again. And I select all my SFX tracks all the way down there and drag them inside the folder. So now the folder is at the top, and I can press this button to show them and hide them. Same applies to the other tracks of the music, so I'm going to go select all the music and drag it into the folder. In the folder of music, I also change the color, and I change the color to the corresponding tracks just to not confuse anything, and I fold it up. Dialogues, we did create only 2 tracks, one stereo, because we don't probably have a lot of dialogues. You can create as many as you want. This is just a recap of a template. Change the color, consistently keep the color also for the other tracks, and here we go. You have already a good system for putting all your files. At this stage, we can close this topic of importing your files. So you're gonna go File, Import Audio, because you probably work on other system of ProTools, and whatever audio you have. Let's see if I have some audio files. Yeah, let's say I have these 3 audio tracks. You can convert them and put them in the right sample rate, because apply SRC. This was 44 recorded in 44, so I needed to transfer to 48. It's not going to happen with you if you work correctly from the beginning. I just want to show you this. So when you press open, it tells you where do you want to store it, and you choose the audio file folder that is inside your Pro Tools session. But then it's asking you where do you want to put it, and I wouldn't go new track, because that will make a mess in all your organization. You put clip list, so all the tracks appear there, and now it's the time that you go and know that if these tracks are all mono or stereo. Let's see what they are. These are all mono because they don't have a little chevron here to open up the content of the double channel of the stereo track. So great, I can select them and put them into the track where it's suitable. This approach is great, but it goes without saying that the first thing that you should have done was that of importing the video, and having already done not only the import of the video, but also the spotting of the video as we talk about it. So you need to go in every section and put where the things are. Most likely you've done that already in your DAW because you work not in Pro Tools directly. So it's good advice that you print out your stems track by track of your current draft of production in Logic or whatever you work, or Ableton, from the beginning till the end, and then you import the tracks and the relevant thing. To make sense, when you want to mix and do the signal flow, you want to keep the organization of this template. So if you've been messy in the Logic or in the Ableton, then you need to try to rearrange it in a way that makes sense here, because we are organizing this folder not only for putting sound to the movie and sync it, but also to have a very clear understanding of what's happening in the signal flow at any time, how to apply the effects effectively and quickly to the tracks without having a track that contains ambiances, footsteps, or whatever. It has to be organized for you to make sense. In particular, when you go in post-production, where projects are not, as it is your case now, 1 minute or 3 minutes, but it could be an hour longer with hundreds of tracks. So I'm gonna go and import the video. When you import the video, you will have to have a new track for the first time. And it's always best to use the spot location, because you can put the video exactly where you need it to. And when you press OK, is asking you, where do you want to put it? And I don't work in minutes and seconds in post-production. You always have to work in time code, frame per second. Because when you put the sounds to the video, you want to be frame by frame, not second by second. Otherwise, you will run the risk to be out of sync and make a lot of hard work. So the usual position start, you have to type 01 here, and your video will appear at 1 hour. That it's a convention, but you put it at 1 hour to have space before and after. And once you've done that, you can just press OK. The video now is inserted. This is the window. You can open the window from here, or Command 9 on the numeric keypad. But where's my video? So you need to probably zoom out a little, remember, and go and find it in the right position. Let's probably put it at the bottom or somewhere there. Yeah, you went a bit in the middle there, so let's put it at the top. I like it at the top. You can put it wherever you want, and that's the video appearing there at 1 hour. So good practice. When you have your video there, then what I will do, I will create a memory location. If you have a keyboard with a numeric keypad, you just press the enter on the numeric keypad, or you press the marker button here, plus here. That I need the glasses there. So here, you don't want just to do the marker, you want to make it a selection once this is selected, and this is the start. Movie start. You can even remember the zoom setting, but at this stage, we only want to remember that the number 1 is the area where the film starts. Why? Because then, in case you lose the position, so for example, these are my memory locations here, and if I lose the position and I don't want to go and find it, I just simply open the memory location and click on it, and it drives me right there, which is the zone number 1. So if you have the numeric keypad, you can do .1 dot and recall in the zone that you just saved. Then your goal is to put the track. So once you put all the track, now we are going into the signal flow. I'm putting away the video because I don't need anything anymore. Signal flow, we already discussed that we need to have an auxiliary track, and we're working in Dolby 7.1.2. So we want to create 3 auxiliary track, 1 for each of the 3 big groups, so dialogues, music, and effects. So this one we can call it submix, and that will work. But not only that, we also need 3 VCA masters. So let's talk about first about the 3 auxiliary, so these 3 green tracks. So mix 1, 2, 3, it's okay, but it's not really helping us to clarify what they are. So if we double click on the submix, I will go DX, then I go to the next and I replace the 2 with MX, which is music, and the next SFX, which is FX. So now we have 3. The VCA are very important too, so we can do VCA dialogues, VCA mix, music, and VCA sound effects. Okay, once we have all of this, then we can start working properly. I normally put the VCA before the auxiliary because the auxiliary is the last port. So to send sounds, the signal flow is I use all the audio track, they go into the submix and they go to Dolby Atmos. They go to Dolby Atmos, and Dolby Atmos send it to the speakers. Let me remove the headphones only mode that I have. Yeah. So you can see what you will see in your setup. How does this happen? In setup, you have the playback engine that ProTools always have to go out to the Dolby Audio Bridge. Because we're doing post, you can do 1024 samples. Dolby command comma, you open the preferences, it receives from the Dolby Audio Bridge and sends out to your audio sound card. This could be the headphones if you work in the headphones mode, for which I recommend always to click headphones only mode. or it will be the sound card of the studio if you are in the studio. Now we can still do a few more things in ProTools, and then we can move on to the other video, which is connecting with Dolby Atmos. So what do we need here? We will need to set up the output, but we will do later, but the input has to be prepared. So all the tracks needs to feed to 3 digital buses of 7.1.2, one for the sound effects, for music, and for dialogues. This will be the input of the auxiliary tracks. So you go and into the I/O under the bus tab, you create a new path, 3 auxiliary track of 7.1.4, and we call them the buses for now. Let's surround bus, and then we'll create. And so you have 3 surround buses that we can use later for our purposes, and press OK. So that's the template before even going into talking about how it goes to Dolby Atmos. But there are 2 main things that we need to add. One is the group, and then the tracks of syncing and LFE. So 3 main things. The groups are just faders. They are very helpful to when you have to meet the loudness requirements. So you want to have basically another fader, an extra fader that control your tracks all together before even going into the fader of the final mix, because the final mix fader is the one that actually make the final product, but you want to have an extra control. So how the VCA works, they respond to groups, they are assigned to groups. So you need to open all the tracks, and having selected all these tracks, you want to do Command G, and it opens this dialog, and you call it SFX group, and you assign the VCA for the SFX. Make sure that all the tracks are selected. If you have more tracks, you want to check the group and see if they are included in there, and you say OK. Then you might want to keep the group not highlighted in blue, because that will mean that if I move a volume of track 5, all the other volumes can be affected. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is that the group works just to assign you need to have a group to assign a VCA. Then the mix tracks again. So what do? You select all the tracks, you do Command G, you call it mix group, music group, and assign the VCA that we prepared already. All the tracks are there, press OK. Then dialogues track. These are only 2. And I call it dialogues group, VCA dialogue. So you have all that you need to perform a great mix. Now, these groups means that if I change the volume here, I will change the overall volume of all the tracks without going into the individual relationship. So the relationship between the volume of the individual tracks, so this could be 0, this could be -5, this -8, it won't change, but the final output will change because I can remove all of them. I remove from them 3 dB, and so that's what you can do by using the VCAs. Okay, we created the 3 inputs from the dialogues for the submix, so we want to add these 3 input here. So in here, no, did we? We don't. Oh. Change this to 7.1.2 because I created the 7.1.2 tracks. To explain my indecision between 7.1.2.4, normally you work in 7.1.4, but because in our studio we only have 7.1.2, let's already work on something that we have. In fact, now if I do this, I will be able to see my buses. So surround 1, this is arbitrary. I decided the dialogues, music, and sound effects is the order that I want. So 1, 2, 3, that's it. So now I know that when it's dialogues, is the first one, all my tracks here should go and be set to that bus, which is the number 1. Then the music, all those tracks should be set to the number 2, and the sound effects tracks, all of them should be set to the bus 3. So we've done the video, we've done the tracks, we routed the tracks as well to the correct bus, we created their respective VCA groups, and we have the 3 auxiliary mixes which receive on the corresponding input. We have not talked about the output of these tracks, which is in the next video.